Podcasting Network live broadcast here on Facebook. My name is Rod Morgan. I will serve as your host. No, not really. I won't serve as your host because we are going to be talking NBA. And when we talk NBA on this podcast, I turn it over to the executive producer of this and every other podcast on the Morgan Podcasting Network, the host of Yeah We Know, the wrestling show, the host of the Fast Break, Jimmy Jamriska. Jimmy, hello.
Hello, Rod. How are you today? You ready to talk about some really not big news in the NBA?
Yeah, no, not big news in the NBA. But Jimmy, if you would allow me, I want to start off with something I'm excited about. So you introduce whoever we have, and then you come back to me for something I'm excited about.
Well, obviously we have Chris King, who's always here, always on time, always ready to rock and roll. We love Chris King. Chris, how are you tonight?
Doing well, excited that we are days away from the playoffs.
We're in the playoffs right now for some teams. We're in the play-ins. We're in the let's lose, let's do whatever. Speaking of people who come to play, we have our boy Pete, who hasn't been here in a minute. Pete, how are you tonight?
Salute. How you guys doing? I'm ready to roll.
We are ready to roll. Well, guess
Happy
what?
to have you back, Pete.
It is time for the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. And the aforementioned Rod would like to chat about something.
My Boston Celtics lost last night, which usually would have me in a bad mood. But Jimmy, I gotta say, I was awfully excited about something that happened for my Celtics last night. We put out a starting lineup that included Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, Peyton Pritchard, and Baylor Shireman. Four American white guys in the starting lineup for my Boston Celtics. You absolutely have to love to see it. But there's a problem with starting four American white guys in the NBA these days. The Celtics had 38 points at halftime and didn't break 80 points for the entire game. So as excited as I was to see something you don't see often, the Celtics got absolutely creamed by the Magic.
Chris, didn't a team break 80 points in like the first quarter this season? That usually happens pretty quickly in the NBA.
I think it was 81 by halftime. I don't think 80 in the first quarter.
81 by halftime. So I want to start talking off about something positive, okay? Luka Doncic returning to Dallas. I have never seen an NBA player go through the emotional state that he was in watching that video. He watched the video, first of all. He cried during the video, and afterwards said he didn't think he could continue. And then, oh, by the way, Pete had 45 points.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, a lot of these guys asked to watch the video ahead of time, and he didn't do that. So okay. I think that he had a chance to process it twice. Now, the whole lip quivering thing, I mean, he doesn't do that when he's talking to the refs, so I only felt so bad for him. But the fact that he didn't screen it ahead of time, I do respect him for that. But I thought it was, there was no video for AD yet, when they played there, right? So.
Yeah, that's true. And AD did bring them a championship. Chris, you're a kind-hearted man. That must have just brought a tear to your eye.
No, because
for the love of Pete.
Right. I know. I'm sorry, Jim, but like.
Right. What a loser. He was crying.
No, he admitted even before the game, let's be honest, he admitted before the game that he didn't know how he was going to react or anything else like that. And when he said that, I thought feels a little like bullshit, but because I thought he was going to come out and then do what he did on the court, which is score 45 points, 30 in the first half, and just dominate Dallas to let them know what they lost. And I think he was doing that on the court in spite of essentially ownership and the GM of Dallas, but he got verklempt due to the fans and their love of him and his love of them.
So, Rod, can you translate for me? Is he mad at Luka for doing that, or is he okay with Luka for doing that? I thought he was. I don't know what happened there.
I stopped trying to figure out what Chris is talking about a long time ago. What excited me about what we saw last night, whatever opinion you want to have about it is fine. Everybody sees things differently, and there's nothing wrong with that. But Luka showed real emotion, okay? Too many guys in the NBA and professional sports nowadays are automatons, okay? They are completely crafted by their handlers. They are completely handled by their sponsors. They never say anything. They give coach speak all the time. So to see a guy be touched by the fact that a place loves him and have the memories of a place that he loved, to me it was clear. Luka did not want to leave Dallas. He wanted to be the next Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas, continuing to bring championships there. And the team stabbed him in the back. The team said, "You're not good enough. We don't believe in you. Get out of here." Smeared the hell out of him on the way out of town, which I'll give them a break for. When you have an unexplainable trade, you have to do a job of trying to explain it. So the only thing the Mavericks could do was trash Luka a little bit on the way out. So all of that stuff was stirring up in him, and to be able to have that emotion and then come out and still be an absolute killer and score 31 in the first half. Remember, Jimmy, I said the Celtics had 38 as a team in the first half last night, and Luka had 31 himself. So I think it was pretty impressive.
I think it was impressive too. I really enjoyed watching that moment. I thought that was really cool for him. And you're right, he did not want to leave at all, and it was a shock to him. You could see that he had a lot of love for his place of business, and that's pretty cool that he did that, and then he came out and then won. I think it gave the fans in the arena what they wanted, exactly what they wanted. They wanted a heartfelt welcome back, and they wanted him to score, over 40, and they wanted them to win and the Mavericks to lose. So that's great.
Do you think an opposing player has ever been cheered that much anywhere, Pete? Like you've seen a few more years of the NBA than I have, Pete. I don't want to out you here, but you are a little bit older than Jimmy and I. Do you remember any time where an opposing player was cheered like that in an arena?
Only Jordan at Market Square. I mean, and the best thing about Luka is, no matter what game it is, it's a heat check right off the bat. So I personally don't think those games are too hard for him when he checks out on defense. And because if anybody would have been hot from Dallas, that would have been a different game, right? I mean, I think he's dynamic because he can just say, "I'm not playing any defense. I'm going to pass," or "I can shoot every time." And unless it's a flipper behind the back, I'm not throwing it. So I think we need 10 years of Luka to see how the next 10 will go, because he'll play for a while, I think. I mean, he's got to let the chili cheese fries go, but,
You mentioned, I think it's more the beer than the chili cheese fries, but yes. you mentioned Market Square Arena where the Pacers play. Chris, I want to ask you a hypothetical question. Let's say that tonight we hear that Rick Carlisle, who is the coach of the Pacers, number 4 seed in the East, got fired. Would that be shocking to you?
Only slightly. No, of course. Right? Of course. It would be, it's insane. Like there would be so much that had to have happened behind closed doors for something like that to go. So it would be absolutely shocking and unheard of.
So there's that analogy. And I have another analogy for you, Rod. Michael Malone getting fired by the Nuggets would be like if the Nuggets fired Michael Malone. There's no way that's going to ever happen, right?
Yeah, I think it was definitely crazy when it came down. It's definitely disrespectful. I'm sorry. I don't love having to say that, but it just is. When you have a coach that won you a championship 2 years ago, when you have a coach that is the winningest coach in your franchise, when he's been there for over a decade, and you fire him with 3 games left in the season, that's nothing but disrespectful. Steve Kerr, I'm starting to love as one of the best thinkers in the NBA, and he was asked a question tonight, or I think it may have been last night, I don't know, and he answered with something about how all the NBA owners now are billionaires or corporations, right? And all of these coaches are just so much more expendable to guys like that, because back in the old days, NBA owners didn't quite have that kind of money. Now NBA owners have that kind of money, and paying off a $12, $14, $15 million contract doesn't mean anything to them. So they're just throwing guys out the door. And if I'm Taylor Jenkins and Mike Malone, I'm getting a job next year. So you really got to ask yourself, how bad of coaches are they if they're going to get rehired by another organization?
They are. Pete, what were your thoughts when both Malone and Booth got fired?
One or the other is usually how it goes, right? But I don't see any reason for Malone to go. I think when you win a championship, you've earned, I guess it's more of an NFL thing, but you've earned a 5-year run if you've won a championship, I feel like, because I'm tired of coaches getting fired for guys getting hurt. It's like the Pistons kept doing that, and then look what happened. They stopped the load management stuff, and look where they're at. And I want to make a random point, Jimmy. I know I'm talking long, but
you're good, brother.
Shouts out to Bobby Portis, who wasn't involved in the fight. We've all been in trouble at our job, but he just came back in his first game and still almost got thrown out of that game. I just thought that was comical. I was at the playoff game last year when he got tossed for fighting, and it's like, dude, he's that guy. Hold me back, and you let him go. He's not going to do nothing. So I wish that would have happened last night. I mean, he is just comical to me, and he's so effective when he's on the court. Like I've never criticized these guys off the court because I don't care what they do, but what he does on the court, it works. And just be on the court, bro. Stop taking shit that gets you suspended and stop getting in fights. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and then Chris, thank you for coming back. I know you got really upset at Rod for that, and I appreciate your professionalism coming back in the room. Thank you very much for those of you watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all of that. To me, Chris, this is what happened. Stan Kroenke is like a parent. When two kids are fighting, you're just like, you know what? You're both grounded. Two kids were fighting. You're both fired. I don't want to deal with either one of you anymore. I can't handle this because there's obviously a lot of stuff going behind the scenes with Booth and with Michael Malone, and he had just had it. I just still don't kind of get the timing of that because, you know, maybe it's a situation where, and I think Bill Simmons brought this up on his podcast, where Murray might be hurt more than you think, and then, oh, you can't really blame the Nuggets because he's hurt. They wanted to get ahead of that. Are you buying that at all, Chris?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. I mean, I will buy your parent to child analogy a little bit, right? Because I can see that. I think that you are seeing this be ran even more as a business, right? Because now you have two people that their feud could bring down the value of your asset, right? So what I see this is these organizations have just essentially told their fans that, hey, we are strictly a business and we do not care about trying to win a championship right now.
So,
Jimmy,
Rod,
I have a question.
Yeah, okay. Go
Okay,
ahead.
here's my question. Do any of us believe that bringing in a coach with no time to practice and with only a few games before the playoffs is actually going to give your team a bump? Do any of us actually believe that? Because that was the thing that we were fed by Memphis and by Denver. I don't believe it. I don't see how a guy coming in, especially in Memphis' situation, that dude's never even been an assistant in the NBA before ever. And all of a sudden he's your head coach and somehow he's going to give you a better shot to win. I don't get that at all. Maybe in Denver, David Adelman, I don't like the fact that now he's the coach, but I guess, you know, he's a well-respected assistant, has interviewed for some head jobs before, so it makes a little more sense there. But I don't believe how an interim coach gives your team a better chance to win in the playoffs. I just don't believe it.
Pete,
It's only happened one time, and it's not in the NBA. It was in the NCAA when Steve Fisher took over at Michigan in '88 and then won the last 6 games to win the championship.
Pete, what do you think?
You know, I just think it's crazy, guys. I mean, I think what happens in the NBA is the players take no accountability after this happens because they always say, once we have a training camp together, well, you don't get that before the playoffs. So what I think happens is the organization knows that going in, like this year is a tank, even though take your family to a game and it's $600-700 if you buy a basketball. So I have a problem with it from a fan standpoint, but if I was running a business, eventually guys get fired, and in the NBA that means traded. So I don't like it. I feel like Denver, if it gets tough, all the guys will quit and say, hey, they brought in a new coach, even though they were probably the ones asking for it.
So this is interesting because other than the Grizzlies and the Nuggets, Rod, I'm looking right now through these teams, and I don't see too many vacancies coming up. Do they just switch coaches? I don't think so, but can you think of the 76ers will probably have an opening, I would think, and the Suns will have an opening because that's all Ishbia does, like you brought to the table earlier. But who else is going to be out there, or is it team, Rod, like the Magic, or like, I don't know, the Bulls, who think they might be close, wanting to bring in a veteran coach? What do you think?
There's no chance the Bulls are going to fire Billy Donovan and bring in another coach.
So.
Jerry Reinsdorf is probably Jerry Reinsdorf's the cheapest owner in the NBA.
Yeah. You're right. He's the old owner. You're right. Good call.
Yeah, he's not looking to pay out Billy Donovan and then bring in somebody else for bigger money. He's definitely not looking to do that. And I think there is a very good possibility that we could be seeing the Spider-Man meme, Taylor Jenkins and Mike Malone pointing at each other and they just switch jobs. I really do think that's a possibility.
That is crazy. All right, let's talk some on the court, shall we? I mentioned the Nuggets are in 4th place. By the end of this week, they could be in the play-in game. Rod, this is crazy. I love it. This is a lot of just up and down. What's been your favorite part so far?
My favorite part is I literally, for the last week, every day when I wake up, instead of going and doom scrolling on Twitter to find out the newest thing about tariffs, this isn't a podcast for that, but instead of doing that, I look up the NBA standings and become absolutely amazed at how bunched 3 through 10 has been in the Western Conference. I mean, and then if you look at it this way, Minnesota is 46 and 33, and they are the 8th seed. And nobody in the East below 6 has an above 500 record. So, I mean, it's just the two differences in the conference are right there. And you could convince me that the Clippers or the Warriors or even the Wolves on the right night could make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. And I'm talking about the 6, 7, and 8 seeds right there. So, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. The other thing that I think, I don't mean any disrespect to Houston, but I would absolutely love being the 7th seed in the Western Conference because that's the team I want to play in the first round.
Well, Chris, if you're the 7th seed in the Western Conference, you're the Golden State Warriors right now. So I think that is a heartbreaker for Houston, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Houston, I'm using that as, chalkboard material or bulletin board material. Like, people don't believe in us because we haven't been here, even though all these other teams have been over the last few years, right? Like, all these are veteran playoff tested teams, and they are all dangerous. So if I'm Houston, I'm saying, hey, we beat these guys all year long. We should still beat them. I think the West is crazy right now. Like Rod said, there's 2.5 games between the 3rd and the 8th seed, and that's between Denver and Minnesota, and none of those teams in between there I want to play. I hate Golden State, but I do not want to play them if I'm in the first round.
Pete, we have right now in the West, if the playoffs started like at this moment, we have a huge game with the Grizzlies coming up here in a little bit, but we have the Kings, the Mavericks, the Warriors, and the T-Wolves all fighting for that 7th seed. Right now, who would you pick to come out of the West to go to the 7th seed to face those Rockets? The Wolves, the Warriors, the Mavs, or the Kings?
Just as a precursor, I want to blame this all on the Timberwolves because how do you blow a 24-point lead and you wake up and you're in 8th place or whatever they dropped to that day? But I know Sacramento's locked into the 9 spot, but I think it's the guys that want to have a road series and not a weekend tournament, So I think the NBA's done a great job with the in-season tournament, but they are got to find a way to make these last games matter. And I think this year it's working. I mean, honestly, in the West, and you could say the East is pretty much going to be the Bulls, Cavs, and the Heat Invitational like it usually is. But I respect, that progress. I would like to see the East get more competitive as the West standings are. But I do think Sacramento could be a wild card, and no one's talking about them. So I'm going to just say if they get in and win a couple games, I could see something happening with Sacramento.
Sacramento was not on
another team with an interim coach, Jimmy. They fired their coach at the beginning of the year, but another team with an interim coach.
And he's playing with house money in Sacramento. So guys, get behind that. And he fired their coach. They're like, fuck it, we could lose and blame it on the coach being fired. Hey, let's go to Cancun together, instead of the playoffs. So
how crazy is it that I forgot about the Kings' crazy firing of their head coach as well? So that's another job that could be open. Hey, maybe Michael Malone could go to the Probably not going back. Probably not.
Don't win Coach of the Year in the NBA. Don't win Coach of the Year in the NBA. You're doomed to be fired.
Adelman's son. I mean, Adelman's son gets the job, and I love Rick Adelman. I got some of his cards when he was in the ABA. But he has to go public and say, I feel bad for his kids because no matter how old your kids are, they're still – it's public news, dude. We don't need you to explain it to us. You know what I mean? I feel bad. No one should lose their job. It doesn't mean they can't coach, but it does happen. I mean, people lose their job in everyday walk of life. And then when we're those guys that criticize them and they get canned, it's like I'm sure he had people in Denver that thought he wasn't doing it right. I mean, not that I agree with it, but.
Hey, Chris, who you got? Kings, Mavs, Warriors, or Wolves coming out of the West?
I think you're going to see the Warriors and the Wolves. I think that's going to be your first game. Whoever wins that ends up the 7 seed. But either way, those two teams are the 7 and 8 seed. I don't think the Kings or the Mavs win any game in the play-in.
All right, who you got coming out though?
Give me the Warriors at the 7, the Wolves at the 8.
All righty.
I'm going to take that
The
back.
Mavericks don't even
I'm
deserve
gonna-
to be in the playoffs.
I'm going to take that back. I think that after these next couple of nights, we're going to see the Grizzlies as the 8 and the Wolves as the 7, and the Warriors will end up getting the 6 or the 5th.
Okay. Rod, quick question. Does any of this matter? We're getting Celtics Thunder, right? I mean, does this really matter? Are we talking about this just because to fill time?
I'm probably not the right person to ask that question.
Oh, I know.
I might be a little too close to the situation as a Celtics fan here, but they are really, really good. If you look at their record, we kind of forgot about the Celtics, right? We thought the Cavs were just passing them by. They're only a few games behind Cleveland. Cleveland only locked up the number 1 seed a little while ago. And the Celtics are actually not a bunch of games behind the Thunder either, who everybody just thinks is blowing the league away. So the defending champs are still going to have something to say about this. The Thunder have a little bit of playoff experience under their belt. And the reason that I'm anti-Houston is not youth. I don't really have a problem with youth. With youth? What did I say there? With youth. But I was almost like Joe Pesci there in
What's
My
a
Cousin
Ute?
Vinny right there.
What is a Ute?
Yeah, that was exactly what I did there. But I think their problem is they don't have a go-to scorer. Are you scared of Fred VanVleet in the last 3 minutes of a game? Because I'm definitely not. I love Amen Thompson's athleticism and his defensive ability, but that dude can't shoot. Şengün is a bit of a Jokic light, but he's not much of a shooter either. So, like, I just worry about when things bog down and things slow down in the playoffs, who is Houston going to? And if they end up playing the Warriors, right? But I'm with Chris. I think the Warriors might be able to sneak into the 6th seed. But if they have to play somebody who has like an Ant Edwards or you know, that's the Rockets are just going to be in trouble. I'm sorry. I still think Ime Udoka should be the coach of the Celtics. So that's another thing that I always think about every time I see the Rockets. I'm just like, man, how good would my Celtics be if Ime Udoka was still coaching that team? Damn it, Ime, what did you have to do whatever you did? We still don't know what you did, but why did you have to do it?
And he did it good. And let's see. Wait a minute. What is that? Is that a little tune in my ear? That is. It's time for the Robden Nation of the week.
All right, I got to go a little negative here. We just talked about how great the NBA has been in the playoff race and all of that. It's been absolutely fantastic. But we need to have a serious discussion in the NBA Rules Committee this offseason about people driving to the basket and their offhand that they are not dribbling with, because we now have an epidemic in this league where guys basically have their off arm out like they're a blocker in football, and they are just driving into the middle and shoving guys off all the time. And I'll be honest here, my guy, number 0 for the Celtics, Jason Tatum, might be one of the biggest offenders of this. So I'm fine if Tatum loses it, because I want to see it go away across the league. I mean, just every single guy that's driving into the lane is pushing off. It's just happening all over the place, and we've got to do something about it. We did something about the hand checking at the top of the key years back to open up offense, and now we've gone too far where it's too easy for guys to get to the basket because they're allowed to push dudes off with a chicken wing. We've got to do something about it.
All right, Pete, what do you think? Do we need to do something about it, or should we just let him play?
I think Rod might be onto something, and I'm going to give you my conspiracy theory why, not to do with Rod, but I heard Adam Silver on
Chris.
the
Conspiracy theory is Chris, actually.
I heard Adam Silver maybe a month ago on the Dan Patrick show, and he was talking about they want to move the NBA to 10 quarters so it can compete with international basketball. So I kind of see a fellowship of the way the game is going to be refereed with that. And I could be wrong. I also think it's a little bit of that. And my problem with the league is the first guy that goes like this every game should be kicked in the balls, because I'm watching the NCAA tournament, and every other play, the female players are going like this, and you can only do that in the last 2 minutes in college. So it's carried over to every sport. I'm sure 6th graders are going like this, and it's mostly Draymond. I know that much, but I just get tired of seeing it.
I hate Draymond.
Definitely a lot of people calling. I know you do, Chris. I knew you were going to jump in on that. Definitely a lot of people calling for reviews. It's got to be one of the tougher jobs on the sidelines of assistant coaches and the guy with the iPad, right, who has to tell players, no, sorry, we're not going to look into that one, and then they probably get serious death eyes from everybody. But I'm with you, Pete. That's another epidemic too.
All right, it is time for the Kings Hardwood Hierarchy.
I mean, let's be honest here. There's only one king on this hierarchy right now, and that's the Oklahoma City Thunder. We just went on for how long about how good the West is in the playoffs, how many teams have a good winning record, and all OKC has done is lose 14 games and dominate the West. And they're 8-2 out of the last 10, so like they're gonna be the king. And yes, Rod, the Queen are your Boston Celtics. All right, because they have shown
Damn
that
right they are.
they don't care what Cleveland's been doing. We're gonna keep on winning, and frankly, Cleveland's not even going to get the Prince because of how they played lately, right? They kind of just said, we're going to coast in. We're not worried, blah, blah, blah. And that may come back to bite them in the behind come playoff time. I'm putting the Knicks as my Prince right now because they are playing hot. They won, 5 in a row? Nope, they just lost last night. So,
lose to Detroit.
yeah. But so that means they've won 7 out of the last 10. They've kept ahead of the Pacers. They're not losing the 3 seed. Like, they are playing tough. And I'm sorry, but Brunson and Towns and Hart in the playoffs is a dangerous trio, especially in the East. And
Not
then,
if they play the Celtics. They haven't beaten them all year.
hey, Celtics better worry about the first round before they start thinking about who they play in the second or in the Cup Finals.
Who are you talking about? Who are we supposed to worry about coming out of the 7th seed? Who?
I mean, Orlando?
No. Orlando doesn't have anybody that can score. Are you serious? Orlando can't put up 110. Boston does that in their sleep.
Yeah, but Orlando plays some of the best defense in the East. Anyways, I'm getting off topic.
Hey, Chris, remember, though, Tibbs is going to play these guys into the ground before the playoffs, and he'll have 3 healthy starters, so please don't forget that.
Yeah, I know. I am fully aware of Tibbs. I've also seen what the Knicks are capable of doing even when their backs are against the wall. Okay, so Jester, in this palace of obsolescence and ineptitude, I have 3 members that are going to be universal members from all until the end of time, because they have failed to even win 20 games this season, all right? The Jazz, the Wizards, and the Hornets, you guys have shown the world that you do not care about basketball or even trying to attempt to put a watchable product on the court. Occasionally, the Wizards would be fun to watch, but that's about it.
That's pathetic, dude. They've been terrible all year. The Suns have lost 8 straight games and farted themselves right out of the playoffs. That is absolutely the team that has to be the Jester right now.
Or maybe, I don't know, the Nuggets who, just fired their coach with 8 games to go. How about them? Wait, by the way, it's Chris's list. It's okay. We can't argue with him. It's his opinion. He doesn't remember.
But we should absolutely be killing Phoenix. We should absolutely be killing Phoenix. That team came in expecting to be a top 4 seed in the West, and they didn't even make the play-in. That's pathetic. We talked about injuries. Pete brought up injuries. They really don't have injuries to speak to in Phoenix. Sure, Durant's been out a little bit, but the rest of their team has been healthy, and they're just terrible.
They actually got better when Beal's hurt.
I really think that should have been the Rod Damnation. Did you hear the passion and the fire behind that rant?
Hey, we had dueling Rod Damnations today. It's been a busy.
It's ridiculous, man. Kevin Durant is too good of a player to suffer the fate that he has drawn himself over the past couple of years, man. Honestly, Kevin Durant is too good of a player, and we are not going to remember this man with any one team. We are not going to remember this man as anything other than a malcontent because of the way his last 7 years have gone. He seemed to have utopia in Oklahoma City, and we all gave him a break for wanting to leave there. He goes to Golden State, wins 2 championships, wins 2 finals MVPs, gets in a fight with Draymond. Congratulations. Everybody fights with Draymond. Be a professional and stay on the team. No, I'm going to go to Brooklyn and hang out with Kyrie Irving. That thing completely blows up. He signs a new contract, says fire the coach. They say no. He says trade me. They say no, not yet. Then they trade him to Phoenix, and that team goes to shit. Kevin Durant's going to go somewhere next year and screw that team up. I'm so disappointed in the way Kevin Durant's later years have gone, and I'm so disappointed in the Suns because they have an owner that comes in and says, we're going to win, we're going to spend money, and they absolutely are terrible. Bradley Beal should be ashamed of himself. That dude is the poster child for keep cashing them checks, dude. Bradley Beal does not care about anything other than receiving his huge paychecks every other week from the Phoenix Suns.
And with that, you've been listening to the NBA Fast Break on the More You Knows Podcasting Network. Pete, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you as always.
Thanks for having me.
And then Chris and
Pete,
Rod,
you got any final shots for us? Wait,
Yeah,
Jimmy,
go
let's
ahead,
let Pete have a final shot here. Get a final shot, Pete. Any last thing you want to say about the NBA before we say goodbye to you?
I think so. I want to say Durant waited a year for them to get healthy. They gave him a max deal anyway. They got James Harden, and both him and Kyrie left before he did. So I think that my brother said this too, that we're going to remember his legacy different because of all the, I want traded and, but I mean, if he had a size 13 instead of a size 14 in that series against Milwaukee, we'd be having a whole different discussion, I think.
We'd be having a whole different discussion about Giannis too, because that team might not get back to sniffing a championship, and we're going to think awful different about Giannis because he got one. And Pete, you're really right. I hate having to mention that Nets team really did about make the finals, but you're right. If his foot's not on that line, maybe they're there.
Yeah, and that whole story about Giannis and the 50 chicken nuggets, like that's nothing. My son does that every other day. So
that's awesome. Thanks, Pete. Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows Podcasting Network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris, and we have to start off with this. And I quote, "After being blindsided by my personal trauma on live television, my character said something on air that was not true, and I'd like to take this opportunity to clear the air. I should never have called Chicago fans smart. I sincerely apologize. Rod, you know I am not the biggest fan of Charlotte Flair." That's fantastic.
All hail the queen, Jimmy. All hail the queen. I do not understand the hate for Charlotte Flair. Do wrestling fans not appreciate greatness? Do wrestling fans not appreciate the absolute perfect shit heel? Explain to me, Jimmy, who's been a better shit heel in the women's division than Charlotte Flair for year after year after year. And the other problem with this Charlotte Tiffany feud is not Charlotte Flair. It's Tiffany Stratton is absolutely not ready for the big time. Triple H did her no favors by putting her in a feud with Charlotte Flair, because Charlotte Flair runs circles around Tiffany Stratton in the ring, and she can run circles around her on the microphone. And Tiffany Stratton looks nervous and hurried and comes across like an absolute amateur in every interaction with Charlotte Flair. I really think Triple H is fumbling the bag a little bit here, Jim, going into WrestleMania 41. I really do.
I got a question concerning this, because I'm not in tune with the behind the scenes type things like you guys are. So I have noticed that I haven't really seen Nia Jax around, right? Did something go on where her absence put Triple H into this position where then he had to make a pivot to Tiffany?
No, I don't think so. I think this is good. This was his plan moving forward. It was the plan. It just seems, Rod, though, I'm gonna push back a little bit, Rod. It seems that Charlotte Flair has problems with everybody, like personally, not on television, and it then comes out on television. Now, we saw the Becky Lynch incident that we had. We saw a Kairi Sane incident. She and Nia Jax literally came to blows in the ring. She and Tiffany Stratton were completely unprofessional in bringing up Charlotte Flair's divorces and then saying that Tiffany's boyfriend was in her DMs. If it's, listen, I got some people in my life. It's like, hey, there's always a problem around you. You might be the problem. You're not seeing any of that, right?
Oh, and her dad, Ric Flair, famous for being incredibly easy to get along with, right? I mean, come on, what are we talking about here? This is a Flair. I mean, this is a Flair. Here's the thing. Is Charlotte probably difficult?
It's okay just because it's her. It's fine. She can do it because it's her.
No, listen, I'm not completely abjecting her here, right? She definitely is shouldering some of the blame. But here's the thing, Tiff. If you're going to get unprofessional in the ring, and if you're going to go and call out personal stuff, then you have to be ready for it to come back to you, okay? And Tiffany dropped her little, your 3 divorces, and she rolled right out of the ring because she knew that she probably shouldn't have been doing it. So if you're going to do that, You got to stand there and be ready for Charlotte to come back at you. And Tiffany wasn't. She was rolling out of the ring and getting the hell up out of there. But no, I can't deny you there, Jim. Charlotte probably is difficult to get along with, but we just talked about the NBA. You have to be able to deal with difficult people if they're at the top of their game, and Charlotte Flair's at the top of the game.
Did you see Wade Barrett? Yeah, Wade Barrett was in the ring, right, with him. He went to, he had to step in because he thought Charlotte Flair was going to kill her. I thought that was hilarious. Chris, what did you think about the interaction? Was it awkward for you, or did you just think it was part of the show?
As a fan, Jimmy, it is really tough for me sometimes to distinguish between a work and not a work. So at the time, because I don't pay attention to anyone's social life, I didn't know if that was made up, true, or anything, right? I mean, hell, I have seen people get married in the ring before, but not really be married.
I love you, Chris, so much. That's fantastic. So I think the problem, the issue we have here is Charlotte Flair is kind of a perfectionist in the ring, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But anytime someone messes up with Charlotte, she doesn't help them out at all. She just kind of stands there and says, yeah, you effed up, didn't you? And then, maybe slaps them around a little bit. Tiffany Stratton, still green, makes mistakes in the ring in the majority of her matches. This is WrestleMania. Rod, can they bring this together? Can they figure it out? They got to, but can they?
I'm not so sure. As I alluded here earlier in the broadcast here, I think Triple H is fumbling the bag at WrestleMania 41 a little bit. I really do. I mean, sure, John Cena, Cody seems like a great match. Sure, the triple threat between the Visionary, the Revolutionary, the Monday Night Messiah, Phil, and the OTC is going to be a great match. But tell me anything else that I'm supposed to care about. I suppose Jey Uso saved the Jey Uso Gunther feud a little bit with his promo on Monday night. That was absolutely awesome to see Jey go emotional like that and to see Jey go serious after basically dancing around and just yeeting for 6 weeks. So that was kind of cool. But I don't care about Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. I don't care about El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. I don't care about AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. I don't care about the Street Profits if they end up fighting somebody at WrestleMania. We're having trouble here, Jim. We're having trouble. And I think that the Charlotte Tiffany thing is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk about that for a minute, because this WrestleMania kind of reminds me a little bit of, it was a WrestleMania years and years ago where they had the Intercontinental title 3-way and a hardcore title 3-way. And then at the last minute, they switched champions and they just had them switch the matches. And it kind of messed everything up. And I think that's kind of where we're going here, Chris. I'm a little confused on some of the matchups. Going back to the Rhea Ripley, I know we've kind of talked about it to death, but that Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky, I mean, Io Sky is winning that match. We're going to do our predictions next week. Io Sky is going to win the match because no one thinks she's going to. She's winning it, but I don't know if she should be in there. And Chris, again, we are pro Io Sky. We love Io Sky here. It's just she doesn't belong in it, right?
Oh no, I think she definitely belongs in it. I don't think Rhea belongs in it. If you're going to have a monumental match like you had on that Raw where Rhea loses the title to Io, you either have something worked out, but you don't turn it into this mess that we had where the EST gives up on reffing a match. That also made me furious. All right. I hate the whole thing. About?
She got drop kicked and slapped by somebody in the match. If that happens to any other referee that's calling the match, why are we blaming Bianca?
Because she is supposed to be the EST. She should be able to handle. I've seen her kick out of horrible things, a lot worse than that. She should be able to finish reffing that match, and we wouldn't have this cluster that we have.
Have you ever seen Jessica Carr get punched in the face and be expected to come back in and ref the match? No. If Jessica Carr gets hit, this thing's getting called.
She's not a professional fighter. Bianca's a professional fighter. Finish the match.
Bianca was the referee of that match, Chris. Bianca was the referee of that match. I'm sorry that you missed when GM I can't think. Adam Pearce said, "You're the referee." Okay, I'm sorry. She was the referee. She wasn't a professional wrestler in that match. She was the referee. You can't hit the referee. Jimmy, please back me up here.
Yeah, you can't hit the referee. Come on, Chris.
I have seen referees get knocked out, come back in, and finish a 3 count, Rod. I am sorry. They don't just wave their arms and say, like, I can't do this anymore, and ring the
She
bell and
didn't
walk
call
away.
the match off after she got accidentally hit, Chris. She called the match off when Rhea slapped her in the face, not accidentally. She called the match after that.
All right. So we need to talk about something else. This was going to lead the show, but
No, we don't. We still need to talk about Rhea Ripley because nobody's hit on the biggest part of this. You have absolutely crapped on Rhea Ripley here. Nobody is mentioning this. You've crapped on Rhea Ripley here. You had the ultimate female badass, and you have basically turned her into a whiny person who has weaseled her way into the match. That's not the Rhea Ripley that has been the dominant character in the WWE for the past 16 months, okay? Rhea Ripley has been somebody who I'm going to come out, I'm going to fight in matches, and I'm going to beat you. And then you had Bianca do that this time around, and she gets big-footed out by Rhea Ripley. I think that they have done a disservice to Rhea Ripley here. I really do. And you're right, Jim. Io Sky's winning this match, and then she's not even going to be in WrestleMania Backlash because we're going to have Bianca versus Rhea in WrestleMania Backlash.
Rhea and Bianca went from being a night one WrestleMania main event, easily could have been the main event for WrestleMania, to, I mean, it's going to be a good match, don't get me wrong, but it's not as compelling. Something else that was extremely compelling and is now compelling for a different way. My boy KO. He's out. And it sucks. And it's so weird that the crowd didn't really understand that it was real. Everyone was kind of bagging on the crowd because you've had Kevin Owens be this dastardly heel for months, right? And he comes out and does the baby face, I'm hurt, I got to go away promo. And I don't know if they bought it. So they weren't really into it. And they're like, oh, as soon as he left the ring, it's like, oh, he's actually hurt. That really sucks because Orton and Owens would have been a hell of a match. And Owens has some neck surgery, so he's going to be gone for a while. It stinks. I hate when people get hurt, and especially my favorite wrestler, obviously. It's a crappy way to go into WrestleMania season. Again, it's just like a little black mark, no fault of anyone's other than, a snapmare that Kevin Owens took on a Raw. Yeah, it stinks, Rod.
Yeah, man, I felt really, really bad for KO because you said it there. We might not see KO back, right? We might not. It's, Randy Orton was gone for a while. Edge was gone for 11 years. You know what I mean? Like, I know Kevin Owens says he wants to be back, but neck surgeries are not to be trifled with. And his last time in a WWE ring, maybe he's getting no reaction from the crowd and almost booed. And then some guy's yelling at him, and as he's walking down the aisle back to backstage and KO has to get in that guy's face, like, KO should have got a grand send-off, because that guy has given his body over to the WWE fans for 15 years. And that situation is when you show him appreciation. And you said it, Jim, the American crowds not looking good these days, just not looking good these days. The Europe crowds look so much better than American crowds right now. It's not even funny.
Chris.
I was fooled. I didn't believe him at first.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sorry, but I didn't. I thought for sure. And to be truthfully honest, I didn't really think it was true until I saw the text chain.
Yeah, it's so weird, because, like, listen, I listen to some podcasts. Okay, I don't know anything, right? But it's like, oh no, he's hurt. That stinks. It's like, oh, no one cared. Why? Oh, because they didn't think it was real. Weird. So then you've got Randy Orton, who just can't buy anything. I mean, he gets some bad luck. Injuries, he comes back, and the biggest things in wrestling history happen within a few months of each other, at his comebacks or his big wins. So he gives the RKO to Nick Aldis. Randy Orton needs somebody at WrestleMania. There are 11 matches right now on WrestleMania. He is going to be in the 12th match. Who is he going to wrestle? I don't know. Some people said, oh, is it Nick Aldis because he did that? That'd be fun. I think it'd be great for Nick Aldis because he's been, a wrestler for decades. I think that'd be great. And I'm all for giving him his WrestleMania moment. That'd be great. wonderful. Doesn't do anything, as far as long-term storytelling goes. Um, I think it'd be a great time to bring up somebody who is kind of younger, maybe even I don't know, a champion in another organization. I don't know. If you say his name, he might appear. I think that would be awesome. Why not? Why not? Bring him on SmackDown. It would
You
be
guys are
great.
trying to talk that into existence for a while
Hey,
now.
hey, Skippy, I've got a pretty good track record. Thank you very much. I don't know, Rod. What do you think? Do you have any ideas on a possible opponent for Randy Orton?
I have an idea on a possible opponent for Randy Orton because you have an idea on a possible opponent for Randy Orton, Jimmy, and you were just not letting our audience in on who you actually think he's going to fight at WrestleMania. You think Aleister Black is going to come back and get that spot, don't you?
I don't. I don't see it. I mean,
I don't want to see it, but
like,
that's what I think I keep hearing.
Point? What's that point? I mean, I guess again, it could be fine. It could be cool how they do it. Depends. But then Aleister Black has to win that match. He has to. Sami Zayn we talked about. I can't remember if he's hurt or not. If he's actually hurt or not. Because that makes the most sense. But
I'm
it's
not
like,
sure
oh wait,
either.
Sami Zayn just got killed by Kevin Owens, so why would he come to Kevin Owens' defense? Chris?
That's a good point too. That's good. But just people would love to see Sammy, so that would
Yeah.
be cool. Maybe Big Jim. Can we get Big Jim Uso? Oh no, wait, he just got completely destroyed by Gunther, so it can't be
did.
Big Jim either.
Yeah, he did. He did.
It's got to be
Can
a
it be
new
Carlito?
bloodline.
Oh no,
guy,
wait,
right?
Carlito's going to be dead too.
We need to talk about that. Yeah, what was that, Chris?
It's got to be a new bloodline guy, right? Solo or Fatu?
No, Fatu's fighting for LA Knight for the.
Oh,
United
right.
Championship.
Maybe bring back Shinsuke. Bring back Shin, Rod. Why not? Just bring him back.
Shin and Orton would be a fun match.
Okay, Shinsuke. I was being
don't know.
sarcastic, Chris.
Yeah, don't say Shin. Jimmy doesn't like that.
I don't like
Shinsuke
I
can't
know.
really go anymore. I don't want to see Shinsuke fight.
All right, Rowan Chris. We have the best spear in the entire history of spears. Braun Breaker levitated for a half a second. I don't know, the camera angle, whatever it was. Oh my goodness, that was amazing, Rod.
Yeah, that was really cool. I mean, we see a lot of Goldberg spears, right, from the past that are pretty cool. Roman Reigns will pull a spear every once in a while, right? Edge had a pretty good spear, but Braun Breaker is making the spear his own, man. Like, goodness gracious, when that dude gets to running and jumping, my God. And shout out to Carlito because Carlito had to take that. You know what I mean? Like, he had to take that right so that Braun Breaker didn't kill himself coming down after that spear. So Carlito is a good soldier coming out and cracking jokes and eating apples all the time. And he's a bit up there in the years, so that's why he doesn't wrestle all the time, kind of like R-Truth. But I enjoy me some Carlito.
Chris, how does Dominic Mysterio win the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania?
Cheating.
Okay. Thank you.
Listen, the guy's a genius. So, like you asking me how he's supposed to do something, I just have to have faith that he's probably going to pull it off because he is a genius in the WWE.
You're right. Listen, I can tell you there's definitely a Braun Breaker spearing Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio getting the pin on Balor coming as soon as possible. I think that might happen, Rod.
That's the only thing that has me excited for this match is that we could possibly see the end of the Judgment Day with Finn Balor in it at least. And we can go back to Finn Balor maybe being a bit of a good guy because I think the fans want to cheer Finn Balor. I think they do. I think Finn Balor working as a bit of an underdog baby face is much better than whatever shit can heel he's been trying to play for a couple of years now. I just don't think it quite works.
And the WWE and TKO need to figure out this music situation so they can go back to the other music. There's a whole behind the scenes thing going on that, Chris, that we don't need to talk about here, but that's why a lot of the music kind of sucks now.
Kinda.
Yeah, well, we finally get the ultimate matchup. Rod, I think this is the most excited you've been for a WrestleMania match in forever, where Rey Mysterio is going against what's the guy's name?
El Grande Americano.
El Grande Americano. It hasn't been said it's mask versus mask. Maybe it is. Maybe they're gonna do something where Grande Americano wins and then they do mask versus mask at Backlash. But that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a terrific match. And hello, Coco.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for my guy Gable finally getting a solo match at WrestleMania, but I'm also bummed out that he has to wear a mask to finally be able to do it after all the years. We're like, hey, Chad Gable, put on a mask and say you're from the Gulf of America, and now we're gonna give you a gimmick at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that. Chris, let's see. Do you care about this?
The only thing that's going to make me care about this is at the end of the match, Rey Mysterio pulls off the mask of the Americano guy, and it's not Chad Gable. Do that, and you'll have me hooked.
That would be actually funny if it wasn't. If it's a situation where he goes under the ring, he comes back out, and he pulls it off, and it's not him. That, you know what? That may happen. That could happen.
They certainly have been trying to play it up to make us all believe.
That could be the end, where he pulls the mask off, it's not him, and then Grande Americano comes and does the roll-up and gets the pin. That could be the end. That's not bad. Not bad, Chris. Not bad at all. I love it. So do you want to talk about the promo or the dancing by Mr. Phil afterwards, Rod? Which would you like to talk about?
I really try hard to not just be fanboy on this podcast because we have Chris to fill that role with us three. He's the fanboy on this show, but man, dude, I can't stand Phil. I can't stand Phil. I don't like when he talks. I don't like his stupid tattoos. I don't like his stupid hair. I don't like the way he holds the microphone. I don't like how close he gets to people when he talks to them. I don't like the fact that he pulled Seth Rollins' jacket on and started dancing around like a damn fool. CM Punk needs to watch himself because he's going to get his ass beat at WrestleMania. I also don't give a crap that Paul Heyman's going to be in his corner. Sorry, I'm not trying to be anti-Paul Heyman here, but that does absolutely nothing for me.
Well, now, wait a minute, Rod. Paul Heyman owes Seth Rollins a favor now.
I don't buy that either. Just because Seth Rollins says he owes him a favor, I don't buy that. No, I don't buy that at all. But I know what you're trying to hint at there. And if that happens at the end of the match, I will take everything back I said about Paul Heyman. But I don't care that Paul Heyman is in Phil's corner.
But Chris, he's not trying to be a fanboy because he is not a fanboy.
No, there was no fandom there, was there, at all? But I tell you what, I agree with Rod. I do not like CM Punk. I don't like his finisher. I don't like his little thing. I do like his Pepsi and his Pepsi tat and his Cobra tat. I think they're all right. But past that, yeah, no, I'm pretty good on CM Punk, thinking he's the best ever. He hasn't shown me anything.
Wow. He hasn't shown you anything. He did our match of the year, Chris. Oh, it's because Drew McIntyre was in it. That's right.
Yeah, know where I stand.
So I think this favor owed to Rollins is kind of a, hey, it's maybe he's not going with him at the end. Maybe we're all thinking he's going to go with them. Maybe something else will happen. Maybe the Beast will come out. Maybe something will go on. Because Brock Lesnar specifically said this week in an interview he is retired from wrestling. You know what that means.
We're seeing Brock Lesnar soon. That's absolutely what that means. And it could be at WrestleMania. It could be at WrestleMania. I wonder, Jimmy, where are we headed with the OTC here? That's the other thing that I got to think about with this match, right? We're talking an awful lot about Seth. We're talking an awful lot about Phil. What do we think the direction for the OTC is going to be after this match? Is he just finally going to just walk away and not be around since he's barely around anymore as it is? Like, what are we doing?
Well, doesn't he need his rematch? Don't we need a rematch?
But how's this match getting him any closer?
If he wins.
You don't think he's going to win, though, do you?
That's a good question. I
guess you don't have to say. We can hold for predictions till next week.
No, but we can talk through a little bit here. Like, who, if Gunther, if Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes are your champions after WrestleMania, which I think that's what we think, right? As of this second,
I don't know.
Could change, right? Let's just say Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes are your champions. You need a bad guy. Does CM Punk go bad? Does Rollins then go bad? And then we have a Rollins and Gunther.
Let's go.
Roman Reigns, he just went good. Is he? What is he? So yeah, we got to figure out who's going to win this match because I don't think it's clear who's going to win. I think a lot of us are leaning towards Rollins, but it could be any of the three.
Nah, you want Phil to win. You should just come on. We all just went fanboy on it, Jimmy. Why don't you just let your fanboy out? You love Phil. It absolutely drives you crazy that Chris and I trash CM Punk because you do believe he's the best in the world. So you think he's winning this match. Come on.
Oh, he's not the best in the world. He's fantastic, and you guys are completely wrong on him. But um, I don't know. I don't know who I want to win. I could see. Do I want Phil to win?
You definitely don't want Roman to win.
It depends how it's done. Yeah. It's the main event, so something big is going to happen. Something big will happen, and I think whoever wins will then go on to chase the championship until SummerSlam. I think that's what's going to happen.
Is it the main event, though? There's been a little bit of talk about that recently. Can you consider it a main event when it's night one of WrestleMania, right? There's been a little bit of talk about that. Is it actually a main event?
Oh, 100% not. It's not the main event of WrestleMania. It's Cody Rhodes and John Cena is the main event of WrestleMania. Phil has the main event of night one of WrestleMania. There's it's two different shows, but one show. But the overall main event is the CM Punk, or is the CM Punk is the John Cena and Cody Rhodes match for sure.
Chris, we won. We got him to call him Phil one time and not CM Punk. We got Jim to call him Phil one time because the only reason you and I called him Phil is because we got no respect for him.
Mocking both of you.
I think if you are a fan and you can make a decision to buy night one tickets without buying night two tickets, then there should be a main event for night one. Those fans deserve a main event, just like every other Raw fan in the stands get a main event. So I think it still needs to be called a main event. As much as I hate to do that, I think we have to.
Yeah, I mean it's a main. So it's one of those things. Yes, it is a main event, but it's not the main event. Like last year, what match closed night one of WrestleMania?
Wasn't that the Usos versus KO and Sami Zayn?
Okay, good.
No, so that was the year before.
No, that was last year.
That was the year before. Last year was they had the tag team match at the end of night one, and then that did the rules for the end of night two. It was the year before that it was the Usos versus KO and Sami the end of night one.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that worthless match from last year.
Point. But last year the main event was obviously Cody Rhodes finishing his story. That's the one everyone came to see. Although this I think is a little closer than it has been in the past. It's Cena and Cody. Anything else before we head out?
I think it's going to be Cena finishing Cody Rhodes' story at WrestleMania. I think this story needed to be finished a while ago.
We're going to fight about that. We're going to fight about that a lot next week. Rod.
I just have a question. Are we going to see Dwayne at any point here? I mean, he was a huge factor in setting up this Cody versus John Cena match, and we haven't really seen or heard of him in weeks. So is Dwayne just off filming some crappy movie for Netflix? Like, what's happening right now?
One of three things is happening. That's one of them. The second one is they're just biding their time, and Dwayne is going to come back at WrestleMania. And number three is he didn't want to do it, and they had to change everything they were going to do at the last minute because he wanted to come in, he wanted to do the big turn. But yeah, not having him and Cena together is so strange that it just had to be something where they couldn't work it out. Which, if you can't work it out, why'd you do it in the first place?
Mm-hmm. I think you could have got more juice out of Cena turning on his own. You know what I mean? I think we could have gotten more juice out of Cena turning on his own and not having The Rock be the mastermind and then pulling the strings with the stupid 1, 2, 3 that he did in the neck slash, where he just tried to make that relate back to when he did the thing at the top of the stairs that none of us understood. So I think you could have gotten more juice out of Cena just turning on his own, and I don't understand it. I'm a little sick of John Cena opening up every Raw. But I'm also a little sick of John Cena opening every Raw.
Yeah. What if Rock came down with Cena and Cena never talked and it was just Rock and Cena was just sitting there being angry? That would have been something different, something cool. I go back to the Browns when they signed Deshaun Watson. Everyone's like, why would you do that? Da, 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 da. Now it came out that the owner of the Browns, Haslam, said, no, that was me. I told him to do that. It's my fault. And I'm going to take the blame for this. Well, when the boss comes and says, hey, Paul Levesque, this is what you need to do. It's what you need to do.
That's a good point. But that's my other reasoning for like The Rock's calling shots and like he has a financial wherewithal above anybody else involved in this match because he's a board member. He's a stockholder. You know what I mean? Like as WWE rises, The Rock makes more money. So I don't get it.
Rod,
really don't
he
get
is
it.
the final boss. That's who he is. The final boss.
And with that, you've been
He's a bad
listening to the
actor.
Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know's podcast network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
I cannot wait until next week. I'm going to be fighting so much with you two gentlemen. Like we have like 12 listeners, but you 12 listeners should be excited for next week's show because it is going to be massively entertaining.
Goodbye, Nick. Yeah.
Best in the world, CM Punk.
Phil is a loser.
Oh.
Didn't get it. Weren't quick enough.
Fine. He's still a loser.